So I had my car for 4 days, and then I went on vacation. And on vacation, we rented a car, and it was an internal combustion engine car, an ICE car, if you want to call it that, the standard car that you drive today. So I went backward and went back and started using one of the cars that drives like a normal car, and was using that for about 2 weeks, and now I'm back driving my Tesla. And I got to tell you, driving the ICE car was really interesting, even after only 3 days or 4 days. It was really kind of cool to get back in a car. It was a big Dodge Caravan, so it was a big size car. And going back to kind of having to use the mirrors and the way you look at things and kind of how you look outside the windows instead of using the little features in the car was a huge change. Plus, I was driving a rental car. And you don't know exactly what the rental car has in terms of gas mileage. You can kind of guess, and you can kind of see on the dashboard, it's giving you some information, whatever. But I had a little bit of what you might call range anxiety. And it was kind of interesting to stop and think about that, because a couple of times I'd be like, oh, it says I have 100 miles left, but I can see I'm below a quarter of a tank. I should probably get gas. And there was one point when we had some driving we had to do through some hills. And it was about 30 miles of driving left, and I had about 100 miles left on the tank. And I had a concern that I might not make it. Honestly, it was kind of weird. And because it was the car I had not been used to. I had only been driving it for like 2 days at that point. And I know I needed gas. So I had a little bit of odd range anxiety. Now, I've been driving the Tesla again for a day or two, and I haven't sensed the range anxiety yet. Let me show you why I haven't really had the range anxiety, and so you kind of get a sense of what I'm thinking about with that. And it's different. And then also, as I was driving along, one of the things I was noticing was just how many Tesla charging stations there are along the way. As you drive along, you see them on various highways, you see them various places. And then there were Tesla destination stations a lot of places too, where you could plug in your car to charge overnight while you're staying in a hotel or whatever, to kind of be able to keep track of it. So I'm going to show you that too, because route planning is one of those things that is really important. It helps you to identify how to get somewhere. Many things you can do with the car. You can go ahead and come in and look at the charging and decide how you want to set the charging. So I have mine set at about 80% charge or so. But you can change how much you want to have it charge up to. And that allows you to mitigate the range anxiety a little bit. So that's actually kind of cool when you're able to do that. So you may also notice that we have the mileage up here, and that tells us how many miles we can go until we need to charge. So that also helps alleviate some of the range anxiety, because you know how far you can go. Now the other cool thing is when you're actually going to travel somewhere. So let's go ahead and navigate here. And let's say I want to go to Pigeon Forge, which was the destination we went to over the summer. And I'm going to route there, and it's going to take a minute and do the calculation. And it's going to come back and it's going to tell me all the places that I need to charge along the way in order to get there. So it's going to pick up all the charging stations and give me everything that I need. So it says, okay, here are the different charging stations you're going to go to. Now you notice it comes up with a message. It says stay below 70 miles an hour to make sure you get there. If you don't, it's going to have to reroute. But it tells me I'm going to get to Fort Drum at about 5% of my charge left, and I charge for another 20 minutes, go to Turkey Lake, and so on and so on and so on, and just keep going until I get to reach Pigeon Forge, and I should have about 10% left when I get to Pigeon Forge. It tells me the total distance, 853 miles, and it'll take about 16 hours to get there driving straight through. Of course, I can always stop and hit a hotel or whatever along the way, but it's giving me the destination so I can figure out how long it would take me to get there. Now, I happen to know, because I was in Pigeon Forge, that there is a destination charger there, so there is the ability to charge the car at the end of the trip. Now, I'm not going to do this trip today in this car, but at some point I am going to do a longer road trip. And when I do, I'm going to have to try it out and see how it works, and I will definitely show you how it's working. But for the moment, I just wanted to give you a sense of how this works and how easy it is to get to different places and how you get there. This is actually kind of a cool feature. So I really like this ability to do some route planning and kind of set it up that way. And now let's take a look at what the route would have looked like if I were driving a normal internal combustion engine car. So we can kind of compare the two. The 853 miles should be the same. 15 hours and 40 minutes is going to be longer because I have to stop for 30 minutes and 20 minutes and so on along the way. Now I might stop for that long anyway just to stretch my legs, but you get the idea. So found that kind of interesting as I was going through it, because I was able to easily get to somewhere, and or I would be able to easily get to somewhere, and be able to charge. So kind of a different feeling on the range anxiety. And I don't know, I'll have to see how it goes as I continue to use this car, because I think it's pretty cool that they have the feature to be able to look for things. Now for the second topic, what I wanted to talk about was talk about how this car has a couple of cool features. Now, you know how in a car, you drive up to a stop sign and you slow down, you put your foot on your brake, you come to a stop. You have the choice, if it's like a traffic light, you could maybe put the car in park, maybe in neutral. You don't have to engage the engine. Or you can just put your foot on the brake and just sit there. And it's that way when you're in traffic and whatever as well. So the Tesla has a cool feature called the creep feature that allows you to turn it on and off, and it decides whether you're going to creep forward or not at the traffic light, whether you have to use the brakes. And if you have to use the brakes, that's fine. But if you want to not use the brakes, you can. See, one of the things that I love about the Tesla is the regenerative braking. And I'm going to show you how that works, and then we're going to talk about the creep feature a little bit here. But let's take a look at this, because it's actually pretty cool. So if I go to car mode here, and then come over here to driving, I have creep. So, oh, I see. Now, isn't that funny? I had gotten a software update while I was gone, and it actually turned that feature off for me completely. I don't have access to it anymore. And it's because of the model of the car I have. Some of the features, because I purchased the standard range without the autopilot, so some features don't work, which I'm totally cool with. This is one of the features that I wanted to have set up exactly like this. I was just going to show you how it works, but that's okay. If you leave the creep feature on, it works like a normal internal combustion engine car, where you'll ride up to the light and then you can hit the brakes and you can sit on the brakes. Creep feature like this allows you to put the car in hold, which is exactly what I wanted to do and what I wanted to show you. So let's go. So as I drive along here, I'm going to get a little bit of speed going here, and I'm going to take my foot off the gas. Let's get up to about 15 miles an hour. And that should, it should have engaged the brakes. Yeah, you can see the brake lights came on in the car. You can see the brake lights down here came on. And it actually put the brakes on, and it actually slowed the car for me. I haven't touched the brakes since I got in the car. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the brakes once, and it's going to slow the car down. Now I'm going 0 miles an hour. And I'm going to touch the brakes again, and you see that it went to hold here. I'm not touching the brakes. I'm sitting perfectly still. I am not moving because I'm in hold mode, and the car is actually held in place. So I don't have to do anything. To go again, all I have to do is touch the gas, and I'll start going. So this works really well as I'm driving along. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come up to this stop sign. There's a stop sign ahead of me here. You'll see a car probably come up on the radar. No, on the LiDAR. No, you did not. I'm going to come up to the stop sign here. I'm going to go ahead and I have not touched the brakes. I am taking my foot off the gas right now. I'm going to give it a little more gas to get up to this little bit of a slant here. I'm take my foot, and there's the stop sign. I'm going to put my foot on the brake for a second here. There we go. And the car is on hold. And I can sit here and look for traffic, and when I'm ready to go, I just start driving. Pretty cool, right? I didn't have to do anything. I could just start driving, and I don't have to use my brakes. I love that feature.